thanking Margaret, Alex, and Ian for this invitation to speak today. It's a privilege to be here engaging with such a diverse group of specialists and non-BCF members, if there are any. I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts and to learn from all of you as we discuss sustainability in film and TV production. Once again, thank you, Margaret, for making this conversation possible. Today, I'll be discussing sustainable film and TV production and the key requirements for a greener industry. We'll explore key sustainability initiatives, best practices, and the challenges and opportunities in creating a more sustainable industry. I would like this to be an interactive section, so please do share your thoughts in the chats. Right. Before we dive in, a quick introduction about myself. I have a background in software and database development with a focus on data management. I am a certified IT quality manager and a certified BCS practitioner in requirements engineering. The dissertation for my master's in computing, specializing in software engineering, focused on environmental sustainability in the film and TV industry. The interviews with key sustainability stakeholders uncovered some barriers and challenges with existing environmental sustainability data collection tools and documents. Some of what I'll be discussing in this presentation stems from these interviews. So, production requires significant resources from energy to transportation, and these resources have an enormous impact on the environment. There is the risk of contributing to long-term damage if the environmental footprint isn't addressed the way it should be. Sustainability is not an option. It is a necessity, particularly as global awareness increases. Everyone in the UK, including the film and TV industry, has a part to play in achieving the UK's net zero 2050 goal. The industry is shifting swiftly towards sustainable practices to reduce its carbon footprint. So how can the industry transition towards more sustainable practices? Well, this presentation explores key sustainability requirements for a greener, more responsible industry. Before we continue, I'd like to include a brief disclaimer. The information in this presentation is based on both my master's dissertation research and my personal research from publicly available sources. While I reference key organizations and industry players, all insights and interpretations are my own. The film and TV sector has a significant environmental impact. However, there are framework tools and industry efforts aimed at reducing this. But first, let's examine the main areas for massive environmental impact. And these areas are materials, water, energy, transport, and waste. For water, the kind of impacts or the things that create these impacts are woods, metals, and the plastics that are often used by large-scale set constructions. And the consequences of this, hold on a second, please, I have to, yeah. The consequences of this is that it causes excessive resource extraction, high carbon emissions, and landfill waste. And then you've got water, so high water consumptions for special effects, catering, cleaning, and facilities. This causes a strain on water supplies, disrupts ecosystems, and causes pollution. Now, energy and transport. Research has it that energy and transport, they constitute the highest carbon dioxide emissions. So in terms of energy, intense power usage from lighting, heating, cooling, and generators cause these impacts, and they increase greenhouse gas emissions, contributing to climate change and air pollution. For transport, frequent travel for cast, crew, and equipment via heavy-duty vehicles and flights create high carbon footprint, air pollution, global warming, and the rest. And then in terms of waste, single-use props, costumes, packaging, and catering waste often end up in landfills. I'll just let you give you a full moment to look at this. Now, it's a 2020 study by Arup based on tentpole film production reviewed the carbon footprint of a typical production. One of tentpole's production emitted 2,840 tons of CO2, equivalent to the amount absorbed by 3,709 acres of forest annually. Key contributors are fuel with 50% of the total amount of carbon emission emitted, and then 30% from energy utility, 16% from air travel, 4% from accommodation. In case you're seeing my cursor, I'm just doing this so that the cursor doesn't start misbehaving as it's done earlier on. So bear with me, please. Now, the 50% fuel is equivalent to 3.4 million miles driven by passenger vehicle, while the 30% energy utility is equivalent to 450 tons of burnt coal. The 16% air travel is equivalent to 75 return flights from London to New York. The 4% accommodation is equivalent to annual electricity use of 34 homes. Now, out of the 50% fuel, out of the 50 carbon emission by fuel, 70% of that is through fuel usage in cars and 30% is through diesel in generators. And out of the 30% carbon emission produced by energy utilities, 70% is from energy usage in studios and places like that, and 30% is from gas usage. For the 16% produced by air travel, 90% is from commercial air travel, while 10% is from chartered air travel. From the 4% cost by accommodation, 100% is from hotels, accommodation, and apartment rentals. Now, the film and TV industry has a unique opportunity to reduce its environmental impact and contribute to tackling the climate emergency. BFI, the British Film Institute, is the lead organization for film in the UK, sponsored by the Department for Culture, Media and Sports and the National Lottery. They play a crucial role in promoting sustainability by funding and supporting initiatives that push the industry towards net zero. Their environmental strategy sets out clear guidance and guidelines for productions receiving funding to encourage best sustainability practices. In keeping with the UK and worldwide sustainability goals, the BFI Film Fund guidelines now require filmmaking projects to undertake carbon footprinting calculations for pre-production, production, and post-production to receive production awards and completion funding. They have formed strategic partnerships with BAFTA Albert and Julius Bicycle, who are key environmental organizations in the UK. BAFTA Albert is the focus of this presentation. BAFTA Albert is the leading authority on environmental sustainability in the screen industry. They were established to help the industry transition to net zero. And Albert provides tools, trainings, and resources to embed sustainability into all aspects of production. And a little disclaimer here, the BAFTA Albert logo is used with permission. And I'm not a representative of Albert, and I'm not a representative of BFI or any other organization mentioned in this presentation. Now, Albert plays different roles, including setting industry standards. And they provide the carbon footprint measurement for the industry. They provide the green production certification, which is crucial for the success of any production in terms of sustainability. Albert collaborates with partners across 4 categories of the Climate Action Blueprint. They are sustainable productions, for example, sustainable productions, which are actually off-screen actions. We'll be seeing that later during this presentation. So this includes creative and innovative ways of reducing emissions and protecting the environment. For instance, you have companies that innovate green energy for the industry. Then there's also the culture and capability, which is sponsored by the BFI, National Lottery Sustainability Screen Fund. And that includes training, bringing awareness to the industry, providing awareness training and things like that. In the standards, measurement, and reporting category, we have AROP, a sustainability development consultancy. They collaborate with organizations to develop sustainable solutions, while SIGN, led by the University of York, enables impactful climate storytelling across all genres to inspire engagement to drive this transition to net zero. Albert's community comprises of 5 groups, which we shall discuss in the next slide. So the 5 groups are education, I hope you can see my cursor, education partnership, affiliates, TV industry steering group, and consortium. So under the education partnership, you have higher education institutions, and under the affiliates, you have production companies. And under the TV industry steering group, you've got the public service broadcasters, BBC, ITV, CB4, Channel 5. Under the commercial broadcasters studios, you've got Sky, UK TV, Warner Brothers Discovery, and you've got the streaming platforms such as Netflix and Amazon Studios, and you've got the industry bodies and associations such as BAFTA and the PACT. And then for the consortium, you've got smaller broadcasters comprising of, smaller broadcasters such as STV, made up of the Central and Northern Scotland ITV public broadcasters licenses, formerly known as Scottish Television and Grampian Television, respectively. Then you've got the production groups, such as Head of Productions for Climate. These members all work together with Albert to support their vision to transition to a net zero industry. Now, Albert focuses on reducing carbon emissions, promoting sustainable production practices, and training professionals to integrate sustainability into their work. Main area of focus include energy, transport, material and waste, water usage, and food. And their effort in promoting sustainable practices in diverse ways have led to widespread industry adoption of sustainable policies with some great achievements. These achievements include having globally assessed 19,000 productions' carbon footprint at the start of 2025. They've also certified almost 2,000 sustainable productions in 2022. They've implemented sustainability in major studios and recently launched a sustainability supplier directory, to mention but a few. Albert provides a sustainability checklist for productions to follow in order to receive certification. This includes and is not limited to promoting sustainability on screen, engaging and training crew and cast on green practices, prioritizing plant-based catering, sourcing locally and reducing food waste, using sustainable sets and materials, and working with eco-friendly suppliers, using renewable energy where possible, reducing travel impact, fewer flights, low emission transport, using transports like like trains, reducing waste and recycle efficiently, reusing materials, things like that, and then encouraging water conservation. In order to be able to fulfill all these sustainability requirements, Albert also requires that production signs on to Albert Toolkit, which is this. And this is going to be discussed in the next slide. Right, so Albert offers two key tools to support sustainable production. Their toolkit includes the Carbon Action Plan, carbon calculators, best practice guidelines, and training programs designed to support production in meeting sustainability targets. The carbon calculator is a tool for tracking a production's carbon footprint, helping teams make data-driven sustainability decisions. The Carbon Action Plan focuses on actionable steps to minimize environmental impact. Some broadcasters now require productions to complete a carbon action plan as part of their sustainability requirements for a production to be commissioned. Now, when a production obtains an Albert certification successfully, they receive Albert's N-board logo. This you will normally see at the end of a movie to emphasize their brand and to showcase that they are actually sustainability minded. So without completing the carbon calculator, the certification is impossible to successfully be obtained. We shall dive deeper into some of these areas, into the Carbon Action Plan. Sustainability in film and TV requires collaboration. As a matter of fact, the film and TV sustainability industry is a collaboration-driven environment. They do not advocate for silo development, especially when it comes to software engineering, software development, and all that. So key players include regulators, production companies, broadcasters, studios, suppliers, cast and crew, and of course, audiences. Each has a role in ensuring responsible environmental actions, practices, and driving industry-wide change. In all this, the individuals at the center of sustainability in the industry are the sustainability managers and consultants. These individuals work collaboratively with every stakeholder, including regulators, departments, and suppliers, to drive change in extensive ways. Their work includes, but not limited to, providing expert advice, training sustainability teams, overseeing sustainability initiatives on set, green checking different aspects of the phases of production, including green checking equipment tracking and logging data, collecting data and reporting. So you've got the cast and crew here, and then potential sustainability stakeholders are technology professionals, games and animation developers, software developers, engineers, IT professionals, data professionals. All these other stakeholders are heavily involved in sustainability. Right. Development, pre-production, production, post-production, and sales and distribution are the 5 stages of production. While film and TV production generally follow these 5 traditional stages, each production adopts its own unique approach based on its specific needs and circumstances. However, sustainability needs to be considered in all phases, from incorporating sustainability in the content and storytelling in development, to sourcing material in pre-production, to energy efficiency, to energy efficient processes in post-production, and eco-friendly distribution methods. Let's now explore some of the sustainability interventions by production phase. I shall let you look at this for a while before I move ahead. So anyway, in under development, this is the idea and foundation stage where an idea for production is being developed here, script development, initial casting and securing of talents, initial budgeting and scheduling, securing funding, management of intellectual property and legal affairs. For pre-production, this is where location scouting, also known as location recce, takes place. Casting of more actors, hiring crew members, set design and planning. This is where resources are, sources are sort like costumes are sourced, scheduling, equipment arrangement, rehearsals. Now in production, I'm explaining this for those who are not acquainted with what is involved in film, in production. Basically, it could be film, it could be TV, it could be high-end filmmaking. So in a production, you've got setup and rehearsals, wardrobe and makeup, principal photography, on-set management, daily rushes and review, data management, and wrap. And then for post-production, this is where the editing takes place, visual effects, sound design and mixing, soundtrack and scoring, final review and approval. And in the sales and distribution, a lot of PR takes place here. This is where a lot of film and TV festival activities, including submission, takes place, distribution deals and packaging, marketing campaigns, premiere and releases, retail distribution. Now, sustainability needs to be considered in all phases, from incorporating sustainability, as I've said, in the content and storytelling development. So now let's explore some of the sustainability interventions by production phases. So these are different icons that represent different things. So first and foremost, we have, can you see my cursor? I think you need to indicate by a show of hands because I can't see anybody.
Yes, it's clear.
Oh, good. Right, so this represents collaborations between sustainability teams, and it also talks about, it represents data collection from the onset all through all the phases. And this represents on-screen sustainability, storytelling, and content. And this represents sustainability transport, such as electric cars. This represents green checking and ensuring that the actions taken comply with regulations, policies, and what else? Any kind of regulatory initiatives. And this represents, so in the development phase, it usually takes place in offices, but the industry is being encouraged to adopt a virtual meeting as opposed to traveling to offices as a way of reducing carbon emission by traveling to places and flights. Now, this represents going for sustainability minded actors and actresses. And this represents, okay, first let's deal with this. This is it represents a digital-based environment to cut down on paper-driven environment. And if printing is inevitable, it is recommended that recycled paper is deployed and double printing is taken as an approach. And the chair here represents a green office. Now, in a pre-production, this magnifying glass represents sourcing locally, sourcing for materials and things locally, as opposed to doing them globally. And this log or tree represents sourcing and reliable and responsibly sourced timber. And this represents suppliers, green suppliers, sustainability-driven suppliers, while this represents sustainability locations and studios, and this represents traveling by train to reduce air travel. And in production, as we talked earlier, to imbibe the culture of plant-based food, using water reasonably and responsibly, also adopting a kind of approach which includes collecting rainwater for special effects and things like that, and reducing the use of plastic, single-use plastic bottles by encouraging people to bring in their mugs. Also, in terms of accommodation, to encourage local accommodation and green conscious accommodation. And in terms of location, to reduce noise and reduce noise pollution. And this is lipstick, which represents makeup. So going for toxic-free makeup, which is makeup is done in production, and done for the real production. And then for post-production is to use environmental, responsible, and friendly cloud providers, and as well as sustainability-driven data centers. And in terms of studios, as in post-production studios, to use energy-efficient studios, as well as studios for the shooting itself and location for the shooting itself, as well as using sustainability-driven suppliers in all these areas. In sales and distribution, this represents merchandise and packaging of this merchandise. So the industry is encouraged to use sustainable materials and avoid plastics completely, and use recycled materials for the packaging, and travel by trade. So sales and distribution involves festivals, attending festivals to promote the movies and things like that. So they're also encouraging or recommending that instead of traveling to these places, you might as well do them through virtual online, like Zoom and all that, as was done during COVID-19. So this represents PR, and the industry is being encouraged to use recycled paper if at all they have to do this for billboards and things like that. So that's that. Now, data requirements for the Albert calculator. Here is an idea of the type of data requirements for the Albert calculator. This is not an exhaustive list. Data for waste management include volume and type of waste generated, waste diversion rates, method used for disposal. And then for data, use data, water-saving measures such as rainwater collection, as I've mentioned, and then data for material use and sustainable sourcing, types and quantities of material use, information about where materials were sourced from and whether they were sustainably sourced, and then data for catering and food waste. Measures taken to promote plant-based food and minimize food waste, and measures in ensuring that they engage the services of sustainability-minded caterers. And then data for energy use on set, use of renewable energy to show what kind of renewable energy was used? Was it solar panels? Was it wind energy? And then data for crew and cast engagement, number of cast and crew, efforts to engage crew and cast in sustainability practices, and then data for transport and travel, cast, crew, and equipment travel arrangements and mode of transport, efforts to minimize travel emissions. And carbon footprints calculator and reporting must be completed. Evidence demonstrating how actions supporting the data requirements must be submitted alongside reporting and documents. So evidence include receipts, invoices, reports, green memos. There are different types of green memos. But I guess that's our presentation for another day, because that was a crucial aspect of my MSc research on documents used for production in the film and TV industry. Other countries have similar initiatives. France, Europe, Scandinavia, the USA, and Germany have developed sustainability frameworks, calculators, certifications, toolkits, showing this as a global effort. And these are their links if you're interested in going further with these people. Adopting sustainability practices in the film and TV industry, particularly in the UK, brings several significant benefits. These advantages not only impact the environment, but also improve the industry's economic and social dynamics. Other ways sustainability benefits the industry includes legal and regulatory benefits, such as risk management, which helps in protecting investors. Then you have innovation and industry leadership, which encourages innovations for a lot of people, manufacturers, suppliers, and then public support and consumer preferences, which brings positive public perception. Now, by prioritizing sustainability and compliance to BAFTA Albert, productions not only avoid risk and costs, but also enhance efficiency, reputation, and long-term success in the industry. Values include increased funding opportunities. So many public and private funding bodies prefer or require sustainability commitments. Also, gaining recognition, this will help in gaining recognition from broadcasters, festivals, and awards, increasing their market appeal through Albert certification. And of course, lower energy and resource costs. Using renewable energy, LED lighting, and sustainable materials reduces long-term expenses. Now, the consequences of non-compliance, I guess, are the opposite of the value. There are higher production costs, lost funding and sponsorships, fines and penalties, reputational damage, public scrutiny, loss of industry recognition, operational setbacks, limited access to sustainable resources, reduced collaboration opportunities. As I've said earlier, the industry is a collaboration-driven industry. Some common challenges and barriers in fulfilling sustainability requirements include resistance to change, limited supply chain sourcing, significant frequent non-environmental friendly travel via air, time pressure and deadline, which often clashes with sustainability efforts and limits sustainable practices. Because people are in a rush, and some, for example, because they're in a hurry, they just dump things into skips and don't think about or prepare for sustainable ways of doing things. But the industry has really improved. They've really evolved from the way things used to be in the past. Recommendations to to mitigate against these things include collaborating and engaging sustainability managers, expert consultants early on. This is very key. From the first phase of production all through the remaining phases of production, irrespective of production's unique approach. Because these people are very good at helping productions to be greener in every aspect. And just leave it for a while and then we'll come moving. Yeah. Now this is a very interesting aspect of this. So there are three interesting ways in which sustainability is promoted, as we see in these three case studies. The first is sustainability as the core theme of the movie, as seen in the 2019 movie, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. How many of you have seen this movie? It's about a young Malawian boy, William Kakwamba, who builds a windmill from scrap materials to bring electricity to his drought-stricken village. This movie inspires audiences by showing how sustainability can directly transform lives. It highlights local ingenuity and resourcefulness in tracking climate and energy challenges and shows sustainability, innovation, and creativity through the use of scrap to build this wind energy solution for drought and energy poverty. The second one is sustainability in production, which is the off-screen action that is practiced in 2019 movie titled 1917. It's about two British soldiers on a dangerous mission to save 1,600 men during World War I. It was shot in a continuous take. The film also incorporates eco-friendly production practices like biofuel and sustainable set design. They minimize the environmental impact behind the scene rather than in the story itself. Practices include the use of biofuel power generators, compostable catering, and sustainable sets. This movie demonstrates how large-scale productions can reduce their carbon footprint. The third method is through sustainability integration onto on-screen representation. As demonstrated by Blue Lights. It was set in Belfast, and this police drama follows new officers tackling crime and personal challenges. So they incorporate sustainability in a non-didactic manner through character actions. For example, reusable coffee cups, plant-based food, and home cooking were integrated into the movie. They normalize sustainable behaviors by portraying them as everyday habits rather than special effects. And they also incorporated sustainability into their off-screen activities, such as switching to renewable energy and minimizing paper waste, and sharing sustainable learning with other productions to encourage industry-wide change. Margaret, can you tell me what you're seeing? Because my cursor has shifted.
The film and TV industry must lead in sustainability. The conclusion.
Oh, fantastic.
Right.
Thank you. So sustainable film and TV production is a necessity, not an option. By embedding sustainability in storytelling, production, and industry practices, we can create a greener, more sustainable and responsible industry. The film industry and TV industry must lead in sustainability. Every production can make a difference. From energy-efficient lighting to eco-friendly set design, every production decision can make a difference. Here are some key references and further resources for those who want to explore sustainability in film and TV production in more depth. So you've got Arab's New Deal white paper and other resources. Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate your time, taking this time on a Friday evening to attend to this presentation. If you have any questions or would like to discuss sustainability in the industry any further, please feel free to reach out to me via email or LinkedIn. You can also reach out to BAFTA Albert and the BFI through their websites. I'll really, really encourage that. Thank you so much.